to this, I kind of want to know, Brock, what is your relationship with Game of Thrones, and what is your relationship with specifically House of the Dragon as well? Like, do you enjoy the series? What's your thoughts on it overall?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. When it started out, season one, the first couple episodes, I was like, God, these awful blonde wigs. Like, I kind of couldn't get past that. But, once it started to build up and get going, then I really started to, get sucked back in. And I've watched Game of Thrones from the jump. I had that 8 year long relationship with that. And I was truly devastated whenever, it ended, which I mean, I loved how it ended a lot. I know a lot of people were pissed off about it, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm digging the first season, and I think the season two, episode one was a really, really good comeback.
Oh yeah, like, and that's the thing is, it felt like it has been such a quick turnover for this as well. Like, it feels like, I feel like it's been longer than what it has when this came out. It feels like it was just like, oh, it's time again to do this again. This is great, because I mean, like we were talking about before we started this, it seems like television, or at least like these television shows, are kind of becoming more of the like gossip media than the movies used to be. So there's definitely a lot of fun that comes with this series in specific, because drama is always happening, and this first episode is high politics, which means high drama.
Hmm. Yeah, and the Alicent Rhaenyra like dichotomy is, you know, pretty much like the basis of the whole show, obviously. But like, I really like how it's coming forward, like showing. Like, did you notice that fucking in this whole entire episode, Rhaenyra had one fucking line? Did you know what it was?
Oh, it was the to get the one son.
I want Aegon Targaryen.
Yep.
Period.
Hey,
Like,
room,
Oh,
room,
no,
room.
no, 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 no! Out of here, buddy. I'm doing a discussion. Sorry,
oh, you're
that
good.
goofy kid.
Mm.
All right,
But yeah, so
yeah, so I did notice that, and then it's so haunting, and I
mhm.
swear it seems like she is about to do something so bad. I mean, she kind of does already with what happens at the end of the episode, but I don't think that that's the end of it. What she is about to do is going to make what Daenerys did look like misdemeanors. Like,
Oh,
she's about to go off. We're about to see a mother's wrath.
absolutely. And like, just, I mean, and speaking of like the way it ended in season one, when it just panned out and she just looked at the fucking camera, I was like, you already know, like, oh, shit's going the fuck down. Like,
Well,
oh, I can't wait for it.
something that makes me wonder as well is Game of Thrones has a history with their cast of going to extremes to make them be in character. If a character is out in the wilderness, they're telling them, "Hey, you shouldn't be showering. This is like real grime that's going to be on them." Like, they're supposed to feel in the moment. So it makes you wonder what conditions they had Rhaenyra under, like the actress under, to get ready for this role, because you can just feel it on her, this dread
Oh
that
yeah,
hangs
it's
over her
dirty.
shoulders.
It's dirty. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
you can tell she's been stewing in it.
Oh
And I
yeah.
mean, and it's great. It makes for great television, and also like as far as method acting goes, I mean, like the directors are pretty much geniuses. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know personally if I would be able to handle that. The no showering thing, like the keeping them outdoor, like but like I mean, also at the same time, like I feel like it helps make the emotions come across a lot truer in the series, as opposed if they were just like pampered princesses that just showed up and threw on a clean wig and had
Yeah.
some like
Yeah,
makeup
you're
sprayed on
not
the face.
having
Like,
perfect elven Lord of the Rings hair in this series too
no.
often.
Mm-mm.
Like, if I seen
Okay.
somebody with that nice of hair, I know that their whole life is about to be fucked, because nobody's allowed to have that nice of a life in the Game of Thrones series.
Hell no, no. And I mean, come on, like we're fucking brothers and sisters. We're like killing babies first episode. I mean, it's what I want
Right.
to see.
And
It's
I
what I
love
want
that
to
you
see.
gotta have something big like that in the end of the first episode to, like, you have to have that elevation that makes people go at the end of the episode, oh, this is the direction. Like, both sides are going to be getting dirty, but that makes me wonder which side are you on when it comes to the rivalry, the
Well, I
war?
mean, I'm Team Rhaenyra. Like, I can't help it. Like, Alicent is a snake. Like, all the high towers are, as far as I'm concerned.
I keep calling
And
the high towers like team feet picks. Like that's the vibes that I get from them.
well, I mean, because she's gonna hoe herself out and do whatever, fuck whoever, show the feet, do whatever she has to do. Like, and that's what Alicent has to do. And
Yeah.
Rhaenyra was born into this shit, so there's a big difference.
And was that
And
kind of the representation you thought that they were giving when she was trying to like scrub herself clean? Like maybe she just keeps having to go and do these disgusting things. Like she doesn't feel good about it, but it is her weapon.
well, and then also too, like like Christian Coe's fucking bitch ass, sitting there fucking like all still fucking dick hurt basically because Rhaenyra is not like, oh, let me just drop the whole entire fucking realm and run away with you and be fucking nothing when I'm the queen and shit like that. And then once again, it's basically like, oh, here you go, Alicent, have my sloppy fucking seconds. You already fucked my fucking dad. You're already fucking,
Yeah.
like shit like
I
that.
will
Like, I
say
mean, because he
that
wants to be her so bad.
Rhaenyra still kind of kills me though, just a little bit. And with the kids, I get it that she wasn't wanting to have kids with like gay best friend or whatever, but for the kingdom, for the bloodline, I just feel like pop a baby in her and then go and have her fun. I'm just saying, it's the most obvious
Absolutely.
damn thing in the world that those are not Targaryen babies.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, and because like you see the first two, and then you see like the last ones that she's having with Damon and stuff like that, and you're like, oh my god, they're blonde headed and
Oh, who would have thought?
crazy. I guess I just skipped those first two. Not
Right.
like no,
Damon
something's
is
up.
out
Like,
here like living his best rogue life as well. Like it seems like he's always stalking in the shadows, which is just very fun watching Matt Smith get to play a role like this.
oh yeah, yeah, I love Matt Smith too as an actor. Like anything he's ever been in, it's great. But yeah, but see, like that's like as far as like Team Rhaenyra and Team Alicent goes, or whatever. Like the Damon aspect of it all is the only one that's fucking with me because it's like I feel like Rhaenyra will do the damn thing if and when she stops listening to what the fuck Damon wants her to do. Which he has some
Yeah.
very valid points as far as like getting the revenge and like fucking smashing that shit, like go in there and turn on. Like I feel him on that or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like Rhaenyra would be more apt to like show mercy and do this in a more quote unquote respectful way.
Yeah.
If she didn't have Damon in her fucking ear being like, well, son for a son. Better fucking go kill
Yeah.
them all. Should have killed them all when you had the fucking chance.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go for, like creepy Mick, like Andy Samberg with an eye patch, second son. Like I thought that's who who she was going to be like his head. I'm not happy until his head is on a spike,
Well, I feel like that's what she wants. I just
Yeah.
don't feel like that's what the dudes were able to come up with at that moment and stuff. Which I mean, not saying like getting his firstborn son isn't like a big hit because it totally is. But like, no, she's not going to be happy until she gets Aegon. Like, she's not. She just won't be. And like, and that's been brewing since since the two princes were little. When he cut dude's eye out, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you knew it was going to happen and stuff like that. So, and back then, I think she was all like, "Oh well, you guys are what half brothers, I guess." Like,
Yeah.
the Targaryen bloodline is fucking confusing. Like, like how many Aegons, how many Aemons, how many fucking everything is there?
I really wish that they would like make the names. There was a Joffrey. There was a Joffrey. Like, why are we reusing these names?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they do that, but like, it's just like fuck. Like, y'all could have like divvied up, like just throw a letter. Like, he could have been Tagon, he could have been fucking Magon. Like, I don't know, like something like to give us a little bit of separation because it gets real. And like the fucking, which granted, I think they're so fucking sexy. Just side note, the fucking Erics, the twin Eric, and like one's fucking Allison, whatever. And I'm like, really, we just couldn't do any better than Eric and Eric. Like that's not confusing enough as it is, and then you got Aemon and Viserys and Jacaerys and blah, blah, blah. Like I mean, it's just we need a fucking like we need like a bar graph with that's showing which one is which in which timeline and like who they all belong
You
to.
do need a chart, and there's charts out there. Is what's bad about it.
Oh, I know, I've seen them. I remember when season 1 ended and I was like recapping and stuff like that. Like I specifically had to go out and look because I was so fucking confused, and I was like, oh no, I'm not crazy. That guy was just Aegon 2 or fucking
Right.
Viserys or whatever. And I was like, okay, so now that makes way more fucking sense.
One thing that makes me worried a little bit with this show, and I don't think that they're too bad about it, but they started to put that heavy focus on the Starks for a second there, and I love seeing little things like that of what the other families were doing. I just never want it to be something that's going to overshadow too much of this show, just going for like, fan service of the previous season. I'm not saying they'll do that, but that was a pretty long scene just to kind of dwell with the Starks for a while.
Yeah, and for him to get the news of his brother's death and stuff, which you could totally tell that's where he was at and everything, and that's
Right.
that's good and stuff. But yeah, like it makes me wonder how that's all going to play out. And from what it seems already, it seems like the Riverlands. I can't remember what that specific castle is they're talking about, like Lord something that holds the whole key to the Riverlands, blah blah. Like I feel like we're going to get a lot more of that storyline into probably coming up soon or whatever, because and wasn't that also like in Game of Thrones, wasn't that where the like it's basically like where Sansa came back, or not Sansa, shit, Arya came and like slit his throat and everything. It's the same the same palace. Like I can't think of what it's called.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Now, what's killing me with this season so far though is like it was another really dark episode, like lighting wise. This series has a really bad habit of blowing out, like if you're not watching on a really good TV, like The Darks. Like it kills me, and they've been doing it for a good few seasons. I think it was about like the 4th or 5th season in the Game of Thrones they started using that lighting, and it just I can never seem to have a monitor or even a TV that doesn't just make it look kind of pixely almost.
Oh, same. Yeah. No, literally, I've thought the same thing since the original game. It's like, okay, we get it, it's dark and shit like that, but you guys have fucking torches and fire for a reason. Like, let us fucking see what's going on, dude. Like,
there was wars. Like I can understand when it's used for like effect, like when it's a war and the mystery of it was you don't know what's in the darkness. But it's like every time they're going down a hallway, it's like, does it need to really be this damn dark every time?
No, it doesn't. And yeah, and like I remember like specifically like the battle on the very last season with the Nightwalkers and stuff like that. Like I couldn't fucking see anything what was going on. I couldn't see fucking anything. And it's like, please do not make this mistake again. But something tells me that they might. They might just do it again.
Which would really suck, especially when you're having things like dragons. I want the full detail of the dragons. Like you can make it stormy or whatever, but if you make it so dark, you can't see the detail in a lot of the things. It feels more like you're hiding bad like effects
CGI.
Yeah, that's what it makes it feel like to me a lot of the times. And because that's the industry that I did study in college, and that's a thing that people will do is use like certain lighting to help hide mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's which I mean, I was also very interested to see how that was going to play out in this season, because like it is obviously like CGI dinosaurs, dragons. So I was wondering how much they were going to be like, like in it, like main focus, like shot wise and stuff. And I'm hoping that we see a lot of them. And so far, I think we're going to.
I mean, it's HBO money, and they're good for that. That's one thing I will say about them. Even after they got bought by Discovery, they still put in a heavy dollar into their shows that they know are going to work. So I think that we will definitely get a lot of good dragon action in this one, which, in the animation industry, there's this joke from the Space Ghost Coast to Coast show back in the day where like Brack was moving his arm and talking about how every time he moves it, they get to charge the animators like $20 or something like that. So I mean, like that's what it is though. Like every time you see those dragons, like that dollar sign is just cranking up more and more because us animators, we need $1 too.
Yeah. probably like $100,000 every
Oh
time
yeah.
it's like
And well, there's
apply
not a
for it.
lot of companies anymore. A lot of us have gone more independent. Like that's what I know. That's what I've done. I'm like slowly making a company right now that's gonna make like individual models by order instead of working for some big company that's gonna take all the money while I'm getting paid $17 an hour or something to do work. You know, like I swear.
Capitalism, baby.
Oh yeah, and I'm not buying into it because we're going into like a big revolution of like indie studios basically making the good stuff anyway. It's happening in video games now too. But all of that aside though, do you think that this season is going to surpass the first season? Because I've heard some reviews from people that got to see the entire thing already saying that it does in fact top the first season, which is hard to believe.
Well, I personally hope that does happen because as much as I did enjoy the first season or whatever, I do feel like that could be easily done, in
Yeah.
my opinion, personally. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like it because I did. I loved it. Like, it was great and stuff. But I have higher hopes for this season because I feel, well, because like, yeah, they had Game of Thrones already, but that was like, that was like the test dummy in season one or whatever. So like, you need to give it to us harder, bigger, better, faster in
Yes.
season two than you did for season one, or else because if you don't get in on this season, then we're not going to stay hooked, and it's not going to last. It's not going to be like we're not going to be having
Right.
this conversation for episode five like we did in Game of Thrones, which was what, like 8 seasons, if I'm
I
remembering
think it was
correctly.
8, I believe.
Yeah, over like 12 fucking years or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how long did we wait for that last season finale? Like, yeah, so I hope so. Which, I mean, granted, like I said, I absolutely loved season one, but yeah, I'm ready for season two to go ham.
Yeah, I
And I think it
definitely
will.
I do think because we had a lot of the slower moments in season one as well. Like the same with the first season of Game of Thrones. You had to kind of lay the framework for you have to see society how it's supposed to be, so that way you know when it's crumbling that it's like dire.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's one you're building. It's got to build up too. And yeah, because the Game of Thrones, like, it was really, really slow. I'd say for a couple seasons, and then it
Yeah,
really started to speed up because they're giving everybody side stories. They're building us up. They're giving us, it's basically like a prologue,
exactly.
essentially. And yeah, so I'm excited to see how far they're going to take it.
I do like that this series is a bit more compact than Game of Thrones, though. You basically have just the two families more than anything else. Any characters that fall outside of that seem to be pretty minor for the most part. You know, like
Yeah, but but we know the reference because of Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
we recognize these family names. We recognize the realms, the seven kingdoms and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I think that helps it out a lot. Is
it
where they are
does.
focusing on the two. It's because the other ones were there. So you don't need their side stories because we've already gotten their side stories. Like,
Yeah.
we know who's over what. We know the Starks are up north. Like, we already heard the Lannisters thrown in there. The High Towers, like all that jazz. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
just give us fucking Targaryen versus Targaryen.
Exactly. And by having it that compact, it lets us move at a better pace and it makes it where it's not having the issue that Game of Thrones have where I can almost guarantee every season there was like one of the cutaway storylines that you just did not enjoy. Like I know that there was almost always one that I'm like, "Oh, are we really doing this storyline again? Who cares about this?" Like cuz I'm sorry, there was some brand moments that were boring as shit. Like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Brand. I mean, God, I could go on about that for days. But yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, and then in other ways, like, oh my God, what was the roses? I can't think of their names, whatever. Like, I mean, the Tyrells, honey. I could have had a whole season just about the Tyrells.
Oh,
Like,
they're doing a season about the forming of Dern though, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
ooh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, the coolest family that got shafted the quickest. Like I swear to God, I still can't get over that.
No,
Pascal looked so good in that. Oh,
yes, he did.
how are you gonna
Yeah,
dangle
he did.
bisexual energy in front of us like that and just take it away so
And
quickly?
just take it out. Well, and also too, like I mean, with the first season of House of the Dragon or whatever, I'm just like, well, where the son that's fucking dead, her first husband or whatever. I'm like, can we at least get a little bit of a good gay love story? Like, where the fuck are they at? What are they doing? Like, is he like you think he's gonna come back and they're gonna be like, oh, surprise, just kidding, he actually isn't dead. Like, we just
Yeah.
faked his death so he could be happy. Like, I hope so. By the way, here's my fellow Lord hottie husband guy. Like, I don't know. But
Yeah, and they made them so boring. Like if you're at least gonna have
yeah,
some, like that was the thing, is they just like they were very much just frame pieces to be used, but they really didn't give them any
like, oh, he's
personality.
gay. Like, that was the big, oh God, he was gay. Like, I
Right.
mean, like, thank you, I guess. Like, I mean,
Like
it's
there's
Pride Month
all
and
of the
all, but
shit
like,
that's going on, like all the debauchery that's happened like in that one street down like in the lower part of the castle area, and they're gonna be
yeah.
worried about some people being gay. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
like, you guys can fuck your brothers and sisters, but like, God forbid he sees it just pass.
Like
Oh
it's
God.
just so
Yeah.
ridiculous. And I understand the arranged marriage and blah 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 blah, you know, pass on the blah blah
Right.
blah, but I still say like the way that they were doing it shouldn't even have to be that secret. If they want to be like, look, this is the family marriage right here, but that's the boyfriend, you know, like that shouldn't even be a
Yeah,
fucking issue.
absolutely.
Like
The
there's
good
plenty
friend.
of like kings and queens in history that did that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just had like we're openly like had mistresses and partners and secret love things, whatever. And it's like, okay, we play house together and then we go off to the side and fuck whoever we want. Like, that's just royalty. Like,
Exactly. Like
yeah,
if anyone's ever seen this series, The Great, it's a really fun example of that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Or most
yes,
recently, George and Mary. I don't know if you watched that on Stars.
I don't think I've seen that one. No.
Oh, you should watch it. It's really, it's about King James and
Oh, okay.
yeah, he was allegedly a big old homo. Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. Like, it was literally the whole premise of the show.
Okay.
How he was
So
just out there fucking dudes.
so do you have any predictions that you want to throw out there, since we are on episode 1? Any predictions you want to throw out there leading into what's going to happen for this season?
Well, so do you want to just go hard and like give our early guess of who's going to take the throne?
Yeah, see what sticks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it'll be Rhaenyra. I do. And I
Okay.
think Allison and that whole line's going to get wiped the fuck out.
I
I think a lot of them will, but I think at the end she's going to be sitting there like Daenerys did and just like, yep, I burned everything down. But instead of her getting killed, she's just going to get to stay that bitch.
I am so terrified of it not happening is the problem. Like it's such a Game of Thrones kind of thing to go and just be like, nah, we're gonna end up putting, you know, Eye Patch McAndy Sandberg on the throne at the end, you know? Like,
Literally, or like fucking, I don't know, what's his name? Like, one of the little kids will grow up here in 8 years and it'll end up being them or something. Like,
do
I
you
don't
think we'll
know.
get another big time skip?
I do, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it can work. Well, I mean, it probably could work without a big time skip, but I mean, just think about how long it was from the first season to this one now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
They had
and
a
then
pretty
how
big
long
one.
it takes to film these too. Like, yeah, I think they're going to grow up a little bit, not a lot. I don't think
Oh,
it'll be
okay.
as severe.
So
as
you don't
the
think they're gonna
original
do like
Game
an
of Thrones.
actor change like they did in the first season?
No, I don't think it'll do all that. Maybe a couple of them, maybe the smaller kids and stuff like that, or the younger one. But like, no, I just think they're just going to gradually grow up over the next few. But like, I don't see this going for 8 years like Game
I
of
don't
Thrones
think
did.
8,
But I
but
mean,
it
I could see a
has
solid
already.
like 4.
Yeah, because it has already been renewed for a third, and that's why I do not think that Rhaenyra or Alicent will die in this season. I think that they're both
Oh, no.
safe,
Mm-mm.
because I think that we're gonna have more buildup of just seeing the complete anger of these mothers, like just becoming completely unhinged.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, and if they did, if it ended there, there would go the show. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they can't give it to us yet like that. Like, that's going to be the whole bill. Like, just like we saw, who's gonna finally sit on it in the end with Game of Thrones or whatever. Like, no, like we're gonna have at least 2 or 3 good filler seasons in between before the final showdown happens. And I'm very much
I
looking
could be
forward to
happy
that.
with a solid 4 or 5 on this one. I don't want to go much
Yeah.
past that. I don't want it to get to a point where it's not even fun anymore. But at that point, I could see, at least a pretty hefty time skip if we ended up staying for 5 whole seasons. I think that we could be even possibly be getting like old lady Rhaenyra by the end of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, I could see it. Yeah, the war lasting for ages, and stuff. Like, yeah, I could absolutely see that. But I think, like you said, it needs to be kept to like a 3 to 5 max. Like,
Yeah,
because like I enjoy looking forward to having something to watch on Sunday nights again or whatever. So this needs to keep
same.
us interested and hanging on. So we get to live that again because that's what we want in the end.
Oh
We want
yeah.
another. Just give it to us like you gave it to us before,
I'm
basically.
I'm
Like,
so
with
glad that
Dragon.
they have stuck with the model of releasing this weekly, because I
Yeah,
do not like a lot of the streaming services. I can understand releasing 2 to 3 episodes to start out with, like they just did with The Boys. But if you drop all of your episodes right at once, you've just completely killed the fun of water
absolutely.
cooler talk. You've got to have that weekly buzz. That's the fun of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like if 1 or 2 episodes on the very first, cool. If that's how you want to do it, but like
Yeah.
even the fact that they just did one, I'm not mad about it at all. I can't wait to, I can't
I
wait for
actually
the rest of
love the
the two.
confidence of only doing one, because most shows typically do 2 or 3 these days. So the confidence of saying, nah, one's all you guys need, you're already hooked, that's a lot of confidence that they have going into this season. And that's a good feeling, knowing how the feelings weren't so great with the end of Game of Thrones for some people. And I'm also not as big of a hater as a lot of people. There are things that I disliked from it, but I do not think that it was the train wreck that a lot of people do. I just think that there was some bad choices made.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that 100%, 100%. And and in fact, and I feel like really HBO is really the only one that's doing that still
Yeah.
these days.
There
So like I like that for what it is. As much as I am like absolutely loved like, oh shit, a whole season dropped, and I guess I'm going to binge watch this whole entire season in one day or whatever. I like a build up. Call
yeah.
me old fashioned.
I think that it does a lot better for the show, in fact, though, because that water cooler talk does get like word of mouth around for the show, that by the end of it, you've probably picked up a lot of people just off of the gossip and how excited people are getting week to
Oh well,
week.
absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, like, I didn't initially start out like there was probably I think 2 or maybe 3 seasons already before I got into Game of Thrones. I had
Yeah,
heard about it, but like at that point in my life, I just wasn't really into. I don't know, like the time period pieces and stuff,
that's fair.
especially like super medieval and stuff. Because I mean, shit, I was in my younger 20s when that came out, But by the time it came around, by the time I heard about it, I was like, oh shit. So I
Mm.
had to, and then I was sitting there hooked, waiting and waiting. So yeah, like I'd rather a slow build and drop it because that's like you said, that is what's going to keep people hooked. That's what's going to keep it like, and then
Yeah.
also it gives that great cinematic thing of like, oh god, every single time we're leaving on a fucking cliffhanger, and you have to know what happens next.
Oh yeah, because
And
then all the conspiracies start going, all the what's gonna happen, what you think. Because I can tell you, with Game of Thrones, we all had insane theories that missed the mark by like a million miles.
oh, absolutely, yeah, and
And
like
we
also
all
I'm
were
gonna
convinced
say
that
it,
we had it figured out.
the Red Wedding, the
Oh,
best death in cinematic history. I don't care
mm-hmm.
what you say. Joffrey dying, nothing will ever do it for me like that episode did. That's it's the greatest episode of all time in my period. I don't care.
But has anyone got your blood boiling yet that it's gonna be as satisfying in House of the Dragon?
Honestly, the Hand of the King. I can't wait to see
Mm.
the fucker die.
I
I can't
mean,
wait.
like I look forward to seeing the old feet pics get what's coming to him, just because he's creeping
Him
me
too.
out.
Yeah.
But nobody's got me boiling like Joffrey did. That guy was
Oh no.
such a good actor for just knowing how to make people despise him.
Yeah, he was perfect at that. He did his fucking job. That's for sure. He understood the assignment.
Yeah, well, I will say this show has 1000% convinced me I do not want kids, because every child in the show is fucking awful.
Oh, absolutely. Like even the little kid at the fucking table, I'm like, if you don't sit that fucking ball down, bro.
You're
Like, ugh,
right. This show
literally.
is perfect if you just do not like kids. You're gonna be like, yeah, I still do not like kids after this show.
Well, and also like Loki, like I mean, okay, Queen Helena, like fucking just give him the fucking son right away and just like calmly sit there, like that was fucking insane. Like, and she just carries the other ones like, oh, they killed the boy. Like, shit,
Yeah.
damn. I guess you don't like kids too much either.
Most definitely not. So yeah, I
Love
think that is where we are going to end this first episode of House of the Discussion. So how did you feel? Did you? I know that you were a little bit nervous jumping into this first episode. Did the nerves wash away pretty quickly, like I told you they would?
Yeah, it's pretty. It went by pretty easily, I must say. I've rather enjoyed it. So yeah, so thank you for having me, and I can't wait to see you next week to talk about it again.
We'll have like at least one or two more people with us next week as well. So it'll be fun having a more gathering of the thoughts. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Of course, I am Rune. You can always find me doing something or another here. Much like on Thursdays, we have our general podcast about all things geekdom. And do you have anywhere that people should be trying to find you, Brock?
Well, Sadie420 on here. Also Sadie on TikTok and Soul Surgery _32 on Instagram.
All right, so we'll definitely get all of your links and put them in the YouTube video. So if you're watching this on YouTube later, make sure that you go and check the description so that way you can go and show some love, because that's what we do here. We want to go and show support for all the creators that come through here. But yeah, make sure that you come back next week as well. Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah, I love all your faces. I will see you guys very, very soon.
Bye, guys.